Welcome to the Midlife Edit, the podcast for women who are navigating the beautiful, messy, and sometimes sweaty journey of midlife. This isn't about a crisis, it's about an awakening. Join me, your host, Jen Weinstein, as I dive into all the things no one warned us about: hot flashes, brain fog, strength training, hormone balancing, and figuring out who the hell we are now. With a mix of expert insights, real talk, and a little humor, because if we're not laughing, we're crying, right? The Midlife Edit is your go-to space for embracing this season with confidence, strength, and balance. Whether you're trying to lift heavier, sleep better, set stronger boundaries, or just remember why you walked into a room, this podcast is here to remind you: midlife is not the end, it's just an edit, and you get to rewrite it your way. Hit subscribe and let's tackle midlife together, one episode at a time. This is the Midlife Edit. Let's make it a damn good chapter. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Midlife Edit. I'm your host, Jen Weinstein, and today is Midlife Nutrition Made Simple Part 2, Protein Power, How to Fuel Your Midlife Body for Strength and Energy. So this is part 2 of our series, Midlife Nutrition Made Simple, and today I'm diving into one of the most important and often overlooked nutrients in midlife: protein. Did you know that the average woman in midlife only consumes about 46 grams of protein a day? And what do you think that is? Again, and I hate to beat a dead horse, but for us that are in our 40s and 50s, we grew up in the time of low fat, low protein, low calorie diet culture, where we didn't talk about protein and everything was based on the lower the calories, the better it is, right? And that's just, obviously, it's not the truth. And we're learning that now, and there's a lot of research being done, but holy cow, protein was never a thing when we talked about it. In fact, I remember being younger and thinking about power bars. Do you remember those power bars? They were called power bars, those granola, whatever bars. And I always thought they were for bodybuilders, and if I ate them, I'd get fat. Like, that's how diet culture back then kind of tricked our minds. So let's try to erase everything that we remember from the 80s and 90s diet culture, and let's move on to fueling our bodies in the right way. And how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to talk about protein. So last week we covered Metabolism 101, and today we're building on that foundation by showing you how protein plays a key role in muscle metabolism and feeling just like your strong, energized self again. So today's episode, you're going to learn about why proteins are non-negotiable in midlife, how to figure out how much you actually need, the best protein sources with both plant and animal being in there, easy meal and snack ideas, how protein pairs with strength training to supercharge your results, and how to overcome challenges like protein fatigue and digestion issues. So let's dive right in. So why is protein so crucial in midlife? Here's the deal. Protein is your metabolic MVP in this period of your life. As we age, especially during the perimenopause and menopause stages in life, we naturally begin to lose that muscle mass. This is a big deal because muscle is active tissue. And, muscle keeps your metabolism running, supports your bones, gives you energy, and helps with balance and stability. And what does protein do? Well, it helps you maintain and rebuild lean muscle mass. It helps support bone density because, bones are partially made of protein. It helps regulate blood sugar and hormone balance, and it makes you feel fuller longer, reducing those cravings, those sugar cravings, those carb cravings, and mindless snacking. Protein isn't just a diet tool, it's a foundation for how your body functions, especially in midlife. So how much do we actually need as women in midlife? Well, a general guide, again, I think we talked about this last week, is 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So again, if you weigh 150 pounds, let's aim for 120 to 150 grams of protein a day. I know, it sounds like a lot, especially when studies show that we're only getting 46 grams of protein a day. So it may seem overwhelming, but not when you spread it out, when you're prioritizing protein. So here's what that might look like. And, for those of you who have tracked macros or tracked anything in MyFitnessPal or anything, this might be a little bit easier for you to visualize. And if you haven't yet, maybe this is just something that you start to get in the habit of. I'm not big on being anal about tracking every little thing that goes into your body, because then food becomes math and it doesn't become fun to eat, and food should be fun, right? So maybe start learning a little bit about it, but don't get obsessed. Okay, so back to how we spread it out and what it looks like. Should have 30 grams at breakfast, 30 grams at lunch, 30 grams at dinner, and then add 10 to 20 grams from your snack. So, just break it up through the day. That's for somebody who's about 150 pounds, or if your goal weight is 150 pounds, that's what you should kind of be getting as far as protein goes. But your body can only absorb so much at once. So instead of cramming like 80 grams into one dinner, aim to spread it out evenly throughout the day. And if you're not used to getting a ton of protein, if you are one of those women who only gets 40 or so grams of protein a day right now, don't overload yourself. Start slowly. Just like anything else, it's going to be a learning curve and a process. Just make sure you're spreading it out throughout the day for optimal absorption and energy in your body. So we're talking about it, but and obviously everybody I think knows that your good sources of protein are things like meats, right? But let's mix it up between animal-based and plant-based proteins. So some animal-based proteins are actually eggs, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese. If you are on TikTok at all, you've seen what a big push both Greek yogurt and cottage cheese have had, and some really great unique recipes for those things, and just ways to sneak in some little protein. Chicken, turkey, and lean beef, tuna, salmon, and shrimp, and then your protein powders. Those are all kind of the whey, casein protein powders. Those are all kind of animal-based ways to get protein in. So what if you're a vegan or a vegetarian, or you just don't like animal products? Well, there's some plant-based ones too. Tofu is a really good source of protein, but also lentils and beans, quinoa, hemp, chia, and flax seeds are all really good sources of protein. And then there are plant-based plant-based protein powders out there, and I've had a few that are pretty good actually. So just remember, you don't have to eat that dry chicken breast every day. Don't let the word protein, throw you off. Find what works for you. So let's talk about some meal and snack ideas to hit your goals. Breakfast ideas, Greek yogurt. I think I said this before, I used to hate yogurt, and I don't know why, but I've just it's one of those acquired taste things for me, or it was for me. I love Greek yogurt. Just throw some blueberries, because blueberries are a superfood, right? And some chia seeds in there. Boom. You have a very quick, easy, high protein breakfast. Eggs, avocado toast. Yesterday I made egg whites with chicken sausage cut up in it and threw some spinach in there. Oh, it was quick, easy, and so good. Or a protein smoothie. If you're one of those people who, I can't eat breakfast, we really need to get in the habit of getting protein, especially if you're working out in the morning. But you should have protein within the first hour to 2 of waking up. It's going to set your body up right, fuel yourself for the day. You're going to feel full, satiated, energized, ready to go. So some lunch ideas: you can make a chicken or tuna wrap, a quinoa bowl, turkey lettuce wraps, so good. And some dinner ideas: grilled salmon and sweet potatoes, stir fry tofu and brown rice if you're into tofu or you're a vegetarian or vegan. Ground turkey tacos. Ground turkey and ground chicken have been a staple in my household for a while now, because number one, it's cheaper, but it's just so good and so easy to make. And then snacks: cottage cheese and fruit, hard-boiled eggs. Just make a batch of hard-boiled eggs on a Sunday and just have them ready to grab. I found that if I'm meal prepping things, not just like lunches and dinners, but even snacks, it's so much easier to stay on track with how I want to eat and not binge on stupid, silly things that make my body feel ugh. Or protein shakes, or again, roasted chickpeas. Throw some chickpeas in an air fryer with some seasonings on it. I mean, you could make them sweet and do some cinnamon and sugar, a little bit of sugar if you'd like. They're really, really good. So as promised, I did make a free protein guide PDF with some more ideas on there. So you can grab that in the show notes or follow me on social media. The Midlife Edit Podcast has a Facebook page, and then currently my Instagram handle is at the Jen Weinstein. So go check that out there or hit in the show notes. And then also in the show notes, make sure you sign up for my newsletter. I do things probably once or twice a week. I don't spam you a lot, but journal prompts or meal ideas or show notes, I always throw those out in the email. So make sure you sign up for that so you know what's coming up. Okay. Segment 5 of this whole thing is about strength training. So today's whole podcast, this segment is about protein and strength training. So if you get protein and you add strength training, you get your midlife superpower, right? Again, I've talked about strength training, and I'm going to continue to talk about strength training and how important it is. But here's where it all comes together. Strength training sends the signal, protein delivers the building blocks. So after a workout, especially when you're resistance training or doing things like kettlebells, your muscles are primed for repair and growth. This is when protein is so crucial. If you don't have protein, you don't get results. It's like planting seeds without watering them. So aim to eat 20 to 30, but more towards 30 grams of protein within 60 to 90 minutes post-workout. So what are some good ideas for post-workout? A protein shake and a banana. Depending on what time you work out, chicken and rice bowl. Also, one thing I forgot to say is for those of you out there who don't like breakfast or don't like breakfast foods or are sick of eggs, guys, you don't have to have a breakfast food for breakfast. Just because society says that these are what we're supposed to eat for breakfast doesn't mean that you can't heat up last night's dinner and eat it again for breakfast. All right, so back to post-workout ideas. Greek fruit and Greek yogurt and fruit. And, even just like a good high-quality protein bar. You kind of want to make sure that you look at the ingredients of those because some of them are full of junk and hidden sugars and things like that. And I don't want to dive too deep into all of that right now, but we're all pretty intelligent people out there, so just make sure we're watching on what we're putting into our bodies when it comes to things that claim to be high protein and no sugar, because sometimes that's just not the case. Anyway, so together, strength training and protein helps you preserve and build muscle. It helps you support your bone health, boost your metabolism, and it also is going to help you stay strong, mobile, and independent throughout your life. And I've talked about this before, but while we're building our muscles and making sure we're maintaining the strength in that muscle, we want to be thinking about our future. We want to be thinking about when we are 70 or 80 and how we're going to feel, and if we are going to be that person that is able to hang out with their grandchildren and great-grandchildren and play with them, or are we going to be the person that's sedentary and can't really move because we didn't take care of our bodies? Again, it's never too late to start now. Let's stay strong, mobile, and independent throughout our life. So even if you're not trying to bulk muscle, this is all about longevity. This is our real goal here, right? We want to be strong and live long and healthy. What's the sense of living until we're 90 or 100 if we can't do anything, if we can't move, if we can't enjoy our lives? This is all about how our future is going to look and how life is going to be for us. It's about having a good, positive, mobile life and just being strong throughout this time and being able to do things on your own. So I've talked a lot about protein, and if you're sitting there going, well, Jen, I've tried and I have things that are my stomach's just not handling it, or I'm tired all the time. Let's talk about some protein challenges and how we can overcome them. So, are you getting sick of protein? Like I said, it doesn't have to be dry chicken all the time, but we talk about prioritizing protein. What proteins are you eating? Well, try to rotate your sources. Use things like marinades and seasonings and sauces to kind of amplify and make those flavors different each time. I think G. Hughes has a really good line of different marinades and sauces that are sugar-free that are so good. I use a lot of them. He's got some Asian flavored ones, some barbecue ones. Just go check those out. Those are really good. And even like Sweet Baby Ray's has made a no sugar added barbecue sauce, things like that. So add some of those things, or try high protein oatmeals or muffins. If things like that don't make you feel sluggish or bloat you, Kodiak has really good muffin mixes and oatmeal mixes. Just try to change it up. It doesn't always have to be the same thing. Do some research. Get my free protein guide. Just check out some other things that may help you hit your protein goals without you even realizing it. And just make sure that we're prioritizing that protein. So instead of eating everything else on your plate first, always eat your protein first. Get that in. Get it out of the way. Are you having some digestive issues maybe with protein? Sometimes you can either be going to the bathroom too much, or it can bind you up a little bit, depending on your body. Everybody's different, right? So number one, try some magnesium. Again, always check with your doctor. But magnesium is a really good source to help things with digestive issues, probiotics, things like that. But try plant-based protein. Sometimes these protein shakes and protein drinks and protein powders, people say it makes them feel icky or you bloat a little bit. So try switching that to the plant-based ones. Something that we need to talk about a little bit later in this series is fiber. So we want to make sure that we're getting enough fiber, and fiber is just as important as protein in our diets as we grow older. But also we need to make sure that we're staying hydrated. And, again, we're talking about the 80s and 90s kids who I never had a water bottle in my hand. I was just telling my stepkids the other day, I was dropping them off at school, and, they take their water bottles to school. We were never allowed to have those in class. So I'm glad that we're trying to stay hydrated now and society's really talking about this. But back when I was growing up, we weren't allowed to have drinks in classes. We had nasty water fountains that we could go during bathroom breaks and get a drink, but we weren't allowed to just drink water whenever we wanted. So it was an adjustment as I got older to make sure that I was staying hydrated. But you can also consider some digestive enzymes. Again, talk to your doctor if you're having some serious stomach issues. But there are things that can help prevent those. Another thing that I hear a lot is, I'm too busy. I'm too busy to cook. I'm too busy to figure out what I'm supposed to eat. We're busy moms and wives and sisters and everything, we're employees. We're always on the go, especially now in this midlife area that we're in, because maybe our children are a little bit grown up and can sustain on their own a little bit more, but then maybe we have some ailing parents that we need to take care of, or our jobs are really ramping up, or you're PTO mom but you're also working. We're busy, right? So what I do, and I haven't done this all my life. I'm not saying I'm the best at this, but I like to batch cook protein on Sundays. So sometimes I'll just throw in a crock pot, I'll throw in some chicken breast and have some shredded chicken breast and sauce it differently. I love chicken meatballs. I've been on this really big chicken meatball with rice and broccoli kick. Just so cook a bunch of protein on Sunday, and so that it's there and easy that you can just grab and heat up quickly for dinner. Taco meat's a good one. Or lean on smoothies. Smoothies really aren't, they have Walmart and Target and your grocery stores. They already have like pre-made frozen bags of different smoothies. So lean on those. Just make sure that they're, not too high in sugar, or they're the right kind for you, but throw some fruit in there, a scoop of protein powder, maybe some chia seeds, spinach, you're on your way. Remember, just like everything else, this is progress over perfection. So some protein is better than none, right? Give yourself grace and don't stress out. Again, I know that a lot of us are from that crazy diet culture where it was always about skinny and we never talked about anything like this. So we're learning. This is a learning curve. This is something that we're adjusting to as we get older, and our bodies are saying, hey, this is what I need. And luckily, there's been a lot more research done with women. We're getting there. We're finally getting the medical research that we need that is based on women and not just men. So one step at a time. Don't overwhelm yourself with all of this, but always just prioritize your protein. Think about when you were younger and your parents or grandparents, you were sitting at the table and you weren't allowed to get up till all your veggies were gone. Think about that with protein. Eat your protein first. Get that out of the way. Don't stress yourself out. This can be easy. It can be fun. Check out that protein guide. There's going to be some really fun recipes on there that we can make. But just give yourself some grace, but also remember that this is for future you. This is for your life in 10, 20, 30 years from now. What we're doing now really, really matters. So let's recap this episode, right? What did we talk about? Because sometimes I know I go off on tangents and I ramble a little bit. Protein, right? Protein. Protein builds muscle. It supports your bones. It powers your metabolism. And we want to make sure that we're aiming for, let's make it simple. 1 gram per pound of body weight spread throughout the day. 150 pounds, get 150 grams of protein. Again, if this is newer to you, maybe start tracking, maybe grab a MyFitnessPal app or something like that, but please don't obsess over that, because that's just like obsessing over the number on the scale. We just want to make sure that we're doing things that we can do sustainably and living a life every day and not stressing out over things like this, because we have enough stress in our lives, right? So aim for 1 gram per pound of body weight spread throughout the day. Prioritize your whole food sources. So, I know it's really easy, and I talked about protein bars. Sometimes it is a quick meal that you can have on the go, but if you can, let's try to get those whole food sources in there. Let's try to eat plants and animals that are high in protein. Kale's a good one that's high in protein. But let's just try to focus on those whole food sources and make sure we're pairing it with strength training for your best results. I mean, they go hand in hand, protein and strength training. And that is going to make us live long, enjoyable lives. Our quality of life is going to be so much better as we get older if we start these things now. And again, you can start them at any time. If you're listening right now and you're 65 and you've never picked up a weight in your life, there's no better time to start than today. So just do it. See how it makes you feel. See how good your body's going to feel after you start making subtle little changes. They always add up to big ones, right? Make sure you download that free protein guide. And it'll have snacks, and maybe I'll throw a tracker in there too. Just so, again, if you haven't done it, maybe I love technology, but I'm also that girl who likes a pen and paper, so just check it off or write it down as you go throughout the day. Put it on your refrigerator, whatever you can do. And also, if you have somebody out there in your life that needs to listen to this or would love to listen to this, please just share this episode with a midlife friend who's ready to feel strong and energized again. I'm here to help people. This is a passion of mine. I have found how much this has helped me in my life and how great I feel between all of the things that I'm talking about. And I'm a work in progress, just like everybody else, but I have come a long way and I feel great, and I just want other women to understand how great you can feel. So thank you so much for listening. Follow me on Instagram for those weekly journal prompts and kettlebell tips, and grab your free PDF guide. Again, the Midlife Edit has a Facebook page. Oh, I've also made a special Facebook group called the Midlife Gains Club. And it's not just about muscle. We're gaining everything in midlife, right? So I'm going to put a link to that as well if you'd like to join that. It's a private Facebook group that, I will let people in as I see fit, and there's not going to be spammers in there or anybody in there who's judgy. So make sure you join that too, because it's a good community where we can all chat together on things that we're struggling with or things that are going great. So check all of those out in the show notes. And next week in part 3, we're going to talk about meal planning and batch cooking and how to make midlife nutrition work with your real life. So you'll learn how to prep smarter and not harder. Until then, friends, stay strong, stay curious, and I'll talk to you soon. This is the Midlife Edit. Let's make it a damn good chapter.